all completed, and we're in the end zone in less than 2 minutes. That had to make you feel good to get on the scoreboard early.
It did. It did. It came out, and I know those guys were nervous. There was a lot of guys that was their first time either for a Friday night game or in a new position. And so it was good to get those little jitters out of the way quick, and went pretty fast, and like I said, in less than a minute we were in the end zone, so that helped out a lot for those guys.
And it didn't take long for you to get back in the end zone. Around the 6:24 mark of the first quarter, we're back in the end zone again. This time Brant Bailey with a rushing touchdown, and the Mavericks were up 14-0. Into the quarter up 20-0. That was just a fabulous first quarter.
It was, like I said, good tempo coming out offensively, but defense did a great job of getting off the field. Getting off the field on third downs and getting us the ball back. And so just all around, it was a good quarter. Like I said, we had one personal foul, and then I believe we missed an extra point. So other than that, it was a good start.
And then the second quarter, the offense continued to click as Josh Gosnell, or actually Chris Martinez, with a 3-yard touchdown run. Juan Ojeda had the extra point, then Gosnell connected with Matt Majors for a 25-yard touchdown. That was our moment of the game, sponsored by McDonald's, but it also ended up being one of the Abilene station's play of the week, that voted on by the fans. That was just a perfect in-stride strike from Gosnell to Majors.
Mm-hmm. It was a good play, and it was a one-play drive, I believe, if I remember right. Defense got us a turnover, and we were able to come out in first play, hit them for a big play for a touchdown.
And then we had the busted play on the bad snap on the extra point. Matt Majors did a good job of getting in the end zone to convert the 2 points.
Yes, he did.
Did a good job by him. The scoring wrapped up. Eastland got their final touchdown, or actually final points. It was a field goal. I think he was on about the 2-yard line with about 2 seconds left. You took a timeout, worked on your kicking game a little bit.
Yes, sir. We got the ball back, I believe, with about 34 seconds before the half, and we just wanted to work on, still work on our offense. It's the first half. We didn't go no huddle, but we still, got to the ball and snapped the ball quick and got down to the 2, and we were able to work on our field goal team there right at the end of the half.
And that's, you never know down the road, those kind of things, work on those in these games, come district, may become a huge, huge asset to be able to get that field goal team ready and get them to get the ball up to their uprights.
It could, and that's something we work on, especially on Wednesdays and Thursdays. But we work special teams every day, and some we take pride in. And it's we're fortunate to have a kicker like Juan. Juan does a good job on kickoffs and extra point field goal. He's good kicker to have.
We talked about this on the broadcast. Eastland has been very fortunate over the last several years, going back 6-7 years, that we've had strong kickers. My recollection goes back to Josh Lawrence, which would have been 6 or 7 years ago, who did a great job. But year after year, we've had Delgado come in and kick, and that is a huge weapon for a small program to be able to kick those extra points and field goals.
Yeah, very, very big, because there's a lot of teams that will struggle with extra points, but it's also big, changing the field position, being able to kick the ball deep on kickoff and having great kickoff coverage and being able to pin them deep and make them go 75, 80 yards.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I thought the coverage for our kicking team was outstanding. They really got down the field quickly. I don't have the numbers right here in front of me, but I don't think they took a kickoff beyond the 25-yard line all night long, and usually it was inside the 20 that we were stopping them.
Yes, and that's our goal, because now on kickoffs, the touchback's the 25-yard line.
Right.
So we that's our goal, is to pin them inside the 25-yard line, make them go 80 yards plus. If that happens, even though you play a good offense, it's still hard to put an 80-yard drive together. So that's our goal. If we can kick it deep and have great coverage and pin them deep, that's going to give us advantage on defense.
Let's turn our attention to the offense a little bit, some of the individual stats. But before we do that, you and I talked about this earlier this week. The guys that don't get their name mentioned on the radio unless there's a flag against them, is the offensive line. Our guys did a fabulous job. I saw Coach West quoted that they scored out very, very well. And, these guys don't run the ball like they do, or Josh doesn't have the protection he does without these big guys up front.
Right. They had a great start to the year. I believe collectively they had 37 knockdowns, and that's a very good start. And something those guys take pride in is finishing the blocks, getting downfield, and getting on people. playing whistle to whistle. And like you said, we don't have the success running the ball or throwing the ball if it's not for those guys up front. So we tell those guys we go as they go. And, you know, they like you said, they don't get the recognition that they should a lot in the newspaper and on the radio just because they're not the guy that ends up getting in the end zone. But we get there because of those guys.
That was me. I only got in the newspaper for penalties. That was it. But, hey, let's talk about those guys. I know you have Braden Blackwell, Peyton Bird. Who's the rest of your crew up front?
Joseph Orozco's playing left guard. Eli Terry's playing center, and McKinnon Cecil's playing right tackle.
All right, so they did a great job, and that allowed Austin Forbes to rack up 136 yards of all-purpose yards, and I believe those 123 of those coming on the ground.
Yes, I believe we ended up rushing for around 230 yards, and again, it was most of the time we were 4 or 5 yards down the field before the running backs were being touched, and again, it goes back to those guys up front. Moving the line of scrimmage and staying on their blocks.
Chris Martinez ran the ball well. He had 93 total yards of offense. Josh Gosnell, 17 of 20, 85%, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And that all happened in the first half, passing the football.
Yes, we didn't throw the ball in the second half. He did a good job going through his reads and getting the ball where it needed to go. Obviously, like you said earlier, the line did a great job protecting this week. That we'll get to Clyde later, but that's probably the strength of their defense is their defensive line. And so it's going to be up to those guys again. And Josh, you know, we talk all the time about taking care of the football, whether we're running our read stuff in the run game or we're throwing the ball down the field. He just has to be smart with the ball, and he did that last week and was successful.
8 different receivers had catches in the ball game, led by Matt Majors with 8. And as I said earlier, all that in the first half. So we were able to spread the ball around. Makes it pretty hard to defend if you have that many weapons that you can throw to.
Right, that's the big thing. 8 guys catching the ball. There's not a guy that they can single out because if they do, we got obviously a lot of other guys that can contribute, and that's a big asset for our offense. Defensively,
a good night for the defense, led by Brant Bailey, Gus Barker, and Trevor Bowles, all with 9 total tackles. Gus Barker, 7 solo, 2 assists. Clay Carper, a heck of a ball game. Steve Heinzman, 7 tackles, all solos. George Atchison, Tyler Gwynn, Hector Velez, Juan Ojeda, all those guys with more than 5. Just a good job defensively and really good penetration getting to the ball.
Yes, did a good job running to the ball defensively. Tackled well early. Late, you know, we slid off some tackles, not wrapping up. We got to do a better job of tackling great for 48 minutes. But I thought we ran to the ball really well. And like you said, a lot of guys on a lot of tackles. But to me, Gus Barker and Clay Carper showed up a lot. You know, they were most of the time, wherever the ball was, you were going to find those 2 guys. And
somewhere nearby.
That's right.
And the other thing, you read a lot, or I've read a lot. You may not read like what other people say, but a lot of comments being made about the transition from the old coaching staff to the new coaching staff. You know, really, it's terminology. I mean, the play, the quickness of the game, and the spread offensive stuff. Same thing they've been doing since they were in 7th grade, and these guys seem to have really taken to the playbook and did it well.
Right. Yes, and especially offensively, it's tempo and schemes are very similar. You know, like you said, terminology is different. There's probably more change on defense than on offense, but they've done a great job picking it up week to week, gotten better every week, and that's what we're hoping that tonight we go out and we're better than we were last week.
Coach Fambro pleased with his defense last week?
He was. You know, obviously we told the guys they did a lot of things right, but then there's still a whole lot of things that we got to fix to get better at, and felt like we had a good week of practice, and we'll see tonight.
And, of course, that's continue to improve week after week. That's the goal each and every week. Health-wise, how did we come out of the football game?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Got one guy that had a banged-up shoulder, but other than that, nothing. I don't think anything real serious.
All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. We'll make it the 3-minute break. We'll come back with more of the Morning Huddle here from First Financial Bank on KATX Sports. First Financial Bank in Eastland, a couple of announcements maybe before we get back to Coach Cliff Watkins. The staff of First Financial Bank, they'll be doing the Ice Bucket ALS Challenge on Monday at 5:30 out front. If you've ever been denied a loan, no, I'm just kidding. Come by and pour the ice on David Bailey. The whole staff will be here, and that's going to be That'd be fun. I wish I was going to be in town to watch that. But anyway, that takes place Monday at 5:30. Also, if you know someone who may have missed the broadcast of the morning huddle, either Cisco or Eastland's, tell them to go over to eastlandcountytoday.com. They'll be posting the KATX morning huddles both with Coach Watkins and Coach West, hopefully by about 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. So check them out, eastlandcountytoday.com. Coach, a couple surprises last week maybe on the week 0. Week 0 you never know for sure what to expect, but let's start out. Not really a big surprise here. Alvord 38, Nakona 8.
Right. Don't know a whole lot about Alvord, but
just week 0, right?
That's right. Just week 0.
Cisco took care of business with Breckenridge 27-7. The reports I've heard from the Cisco folks is Breckenridge is really big.
Yes, that's everything I've heard. Breckenridge is huge up front on both sides of the ball, but Cisco takes care of business and finds a way to win.
Team that went 7-5 last year, Henrietta 35, Electra 6. No real surprise there.
No.
And then a heck of a ball game. Millsap and Gorman 35-7. That would have been a good one to watch.
It would have. And Millsap starts out 1-0.
Holiday takes care of business. Another good football game, and this was probably the biggest surprise to me. Holiday 36, Stanford 34.
Yeah, that's to me the biggest surprise in the district. And not knowing a lot about Holiday, I know last year Holiday struggled a little bit, but years past, Holiday's a quality program.
Right.
Usually has a good football team, and Stanford coming off back-to-back state championships. I know they lost a lot in the senior class, but that's just a team that knows how to win. And so for Holiday to start off with that's
Quanah 47, City View 37.
That was surprising the other way a little bit. I've heard a lot of good things about City View, and now we saw Quanah in 7-on-7. I know Quanah has some good players, but I was a little surprised to see City View lose that one.
All right, taking a look at tonight's other district teams in action. Holiday at Windthorst. Windthorst usually a pretty stout small program.
They are, but see how Holiday bounces back after a big first week win, and see if they can do it back to back.
And Nakona takes on Munster. Munster usually a pretty good program as well.
Yes, Munster I saw beat somebody last week pretty good. So
Archer City travels to City View. I know nothing about Archer City.
Neither do I.
Jacksboro at Breckenridge. Looks like I would say, this is me talking, Buckaroos pick up a win at home against Jacksboro.
I would like to see that, since they played Cisco pretty tight. I would hope to see Breckenridge beat Jacksboro.
We don't want them 0-2 or 0-3 coming in to see us in a couple weeks.
No.
The game that has if it's not the talk of the state, it should be Cisco versus Wall, number 1 versus number 2, Division 1, Division 2. That is, for lack of a better word, I said this on the air this morning, and I apologize, but that's going to be a slobber knocker.
It is. You talk about a physical ball game. It will be. It won't take very long.
They may be done by time we're at halftime.
You may know the final of Wall and Cisco, but it'll be a physical ball game. And just knowing Coach West and how Cisco plays, they will keep it tight, and they'll have a chance to win it at the end. It'll be a physical, run-heavy ball game.
Henrietta travels to Paradise. Paradise several years ago had a pretty stout program. They've been down for a couple of years. I'm not sure what they have on the table this year, but Henrietta may go to 2-0 after tonight.
I would think.
All right, Coach, let's turn our attention to last night. We traveled to Clyde. We had 2 football games. First one, 21-20.
The JV Black, they actually played a pretty good football game. Did a lot of things that was good to see. Just made a couple mistakes at the end of each half. It's 14-0, and there's 1 second left on the clock, and they throw about a 60-yard touchdown pass to make it 14-8 at halftime. And then it's fourth and 10 probably at about the 12-yard line, and with about 30 seconds left, and we have a corner in great position to make a play, tips the ball, and they catch it and win the ball game. No, he catches it in the end zone.
In the end zone.
In the end zone. And
wow.
first downs and stuff like that, we move the ball really well. Like I said, just had some miscommunications in the secondary to give up some plays and some quick screens, but we moved the ball well, ran to the ball well defensively, and just gave up a couple big plays at the end of each half that ended up costing us the ball game.
So a lot of kids get a lot of playing time last night.
Yes.
Get a lot of, because the week before we had to combine the teams. So
right.
We got a lot of people some action last night with the black team. Who's your coaches on the black team? I forget from last week.
Coach Ryan Marwitz and Coach Bobby Blackwell.
Okay. JV Red, they came up short last night.
They did. JV Red, it was a pretty sloppy game, and a lot of things that we got to do better as coaches to prepare them through the week. We had a lot of penalties, just not lining up right offensively, turned the ball over offensively, had a lot of busted coverages in the back end, and it's just not the way we're going to play Eastland Maverick football, and we will get it fixed and get better and get back to work next week.
Who's your quarterback on the red team?
Red team, Hayden Carr and Mason Wright are both playing quarterback.
And your black team quarterback is?
Brody Forrest.
Brody Forrest. All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and take our final break. It'll be a 2-minute break. When we come back, we're going to talk Clyde Bulldogs and Friday Night Football right here on KATX Sports. And welcome back to the Morning Huddle here on KATX 97.7, live from First Financial Bank. Coach, week one, the Clyde Bulldogs come to town. The first two games of the year, we're playing teams that had been in our district the last couple of years, and so we're sort of familiar with them. And Clyde will be a formidable opponent tonight.
It will. I told the guys all week, Clyde will be the best opponent we face this year, including scrimmages, and then obviously Merkel last Friday night. They'll be the best team. Coach Smart's been there for a while now. They know the system. They know what they're doing, both offensively and defensively. They're big. They got some big guys up front on both sides of the ball. Play extremely hard. So I'm excited to go out and see how we're going to react to the best team we've played so far.
And you mentioned earlier in the program that their defensive line is very talented.
Yes, they are. And pretty big kids, but the thing that jumps out at you is just how hard they play. They're going to come off the ball, and they're going to play whistle to whistle every single play. And we talked about our offensive line playing really well last week. But our goal, as we always talk about, is we got to be better next week than we were last week. And we played well last week, but that was week one. Now we got to get better and play better this week. And we're going to have to play better this week because of who's on the other side of the ball.
Offensively, what can we expect from the Clyde Bulldogs?
Clyde's going to spread it out. They're not going to get in many formations at all. They're going to get in doubles and trips probably 99% of the time. And they're going to try. They're a no huddle. Sometimes they're going to try and go really fast, and sometimes they're just going to line up and see what you're going to get in and call a play. But they're going to throw it around. They like to throw the ball down the field, but then they also like to throw a bunch of quick screens right now outside.
Players to watch offensively for the Clyde Bulldogs?
Oh, their quarterback, number 10, is a good player, and number 7, their tailback. I think those two guys are kind of what makes them go. They do have some fast receivers on the outside, but you worry a little bit about their quarterback not only throwing the ball down the field, but then running the ball. So offensively, those two guys are the two guys that we've got to be able to contain and slow down.
And defensively, what are they going to show us?
They're going to be in a 3-4. Two high safeties most of the time. They'll roll every once in a while, but they're going to base out of a 3-4 and expect those three guys up front to get pressure and let those guys in the back drop into coverage.
Well, Coach, good luck tonight. Hopefully win number 2 will go into the books. We failed to mention during our middle segment, JV Black, the only team in action next week?
Yes, now we're still looking for some junior high games because we're open next week. They didn't have an opponent, so we're trying to find them a game. We're going to do something with those guys next week. Just don't know what yet. And JV Black will travel to Haskell.
And also want to mention, come out tonight at the stadium, a silent auction for 20 premium parking spots. All proceeds go to at-risk students of Eastland ISD, and there'll be a silent auction that will end at halftime, I believe. So come out and support the Eastland ISD. I want to say thanks to to Coach Watkins for joining us. Thanks to my engineer back in the studio, Matthew Householder. Thank you for your time. This time till next time, I'm Terry Slavens. Have a fabulous weekend, everyone.